1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hello everyone, I am Yolanda and here we are at your favorite therapist podcast. And on the first podcast, you know I had to bring my boy. What's up, Avery?
What's up? I appreciate you having me.
Of course. You know I had to have you on the first one.
Man, it means a lot.
Yeah.
This is exciting to be on your first inaugural podcast.
Yeah.
Having real ass unfiltered conversations. So
How were
I'm
we
excited. Shit. It's unfiltered, right? It's unfiltered,
Absolutely.
right? We're going to talk about what people don't know about what it's like to be a therapist, what it's like to be black therapists. And, you know,
because that makes a difference.
it does. It makes a big difference.
Difference.
So I'm excited. You know, wherever you want to go with the conversation, I don't care. I'm ready to go there. So let's get the people what they want.
So I have been talking about this podcast for, I'm not gonna say how long because it's a little embarrassing because you know I'm an overachiever and when I say I'm gonna do something and I don't do it, I feel defeated. But anyway, let's get to it. So your favorite therapist podcast is just for therapists, right? The guests are going to be therapists, and I created this podcast because I know when we go on other folks' podcasts, when we're asked to do speaking engagements, it's always us like providing a resource, right?
Yeah.
It's always us holding space
For others.
someone, right? It's just always us showing up for everybody else, right? And all that we getting paid for, right? Right? Although we get paid for it, doesn't change the fact that it can become draining sometimes, especially when we saw X amount of clients in a week's time, right?
Yeah.
And we got our own shit going on in our personal life. And let me get to the point because I feel like I'm kind of all over the place. But pretty much I just wanted to create a space for therapists, strictly therapists, to just come and just be unfiltered and be open and be honest, right? Because we have the education, right? We have the clinical skills around what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to respond in situations. People don't assume that we're human.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, you should know. You a therapist. Tell somebody I'm depressed. Well, shit, you should know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
All right, you should know to get the fuck out my face. Let's make the shit out of you too.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's pretty much why I created this this podcast. So let's introduce you and who you are. They will hear tongue twisted. They will hear so much about me, but let's introduce you. Tell the folks.
Oh, man.
Let me get the
Yeah. First and foremost, let's drink to you.
Absolutely.
And this being your first podcast. Behind the scenes, we prayed over this. And, we prayed that God blesses you beyond your wildest imagination. That this podcast become ranked with the what was I Am Athlete, but the Pivots and the Drink Champs. But it reaches an audience that would have never thought to even consider therapy. But it also touches those therapists that's like, damn, like they speaking about our existence, right? Our experiences. So shout out to you. We cheers to you. Cheers to you. Absolutely. But me, I'm a real ass therapist. I'm black. I'm male. I'm human. From a professional standpoint, I am a licensed professional counselor. I've been doing this since 2011. As of last April, actually.
Hey, talk your shit.
I'm Dr. Avery Rosser, PhD. Dr. Rosser from the University of Georgia. So I am a practicing clinician. I am a counselor educator, meaning that I teach counseling. I supervise counselors. I do research. I advocate for the counseling field. So I'm all over the space when it comes to counseling. I have a nonprofit called the Counseling Brothers of Atlanta. We are like 50 deep with black male therapists in Atlanta. And we're doing a lot of big shit in the city. And then we're changing the landscape of how mental health is seen in our community. But we're showing other communities, we're just shedding a light on mental health, like just from a black experience. So, yeah, I'm excited to be here. That's what I do and who I am. And yeah, I'm ready for some unfiltered and real ass conversation.
All right, so let's get into it. But before we get into the topic for today, we're in Q. I'm looking at my watch. We're in Q2.
Q2,
right? What are your goals for Q2?
Honestly, it's interesting that you brought that up. Last year I didn't make any goals. I think I was afraid of making goals last year. I was going through a lot of shit. Life was life. Life, you know, we talk. Life was life from last year, and I was like, man, I can't make any goal outside. The only goal I had last year was for me to graduate, for me to finish my dissertation, which I did in 3 years. Which is not customary, by the way. Pop my shit, right? Who else gonna? If you don't do it, who else can do it, right?
Gonna do it.
But this year, I wanted to be more intentional about like how I showed up for myself. Although life is still lifing, like a motherfucker, a lot of changes. I say, you know what? I'm gonna do some stuff. I'm gonna make some goals, and so I break my goals down in like 5 different categories. I made financial goals. Which was to reduce my debt, my overall debt by 40%, 45%, increase my revenue by 65%. I wanted to make family goals and spend more time with my kids and take them international, take them on their first international trip. I wanted to heal personally. Like, I wanted to heal. I've been through a lot of shit. And I'm continuously going through a lot of shit. But God's grace has definitely been sustaining. So I wanted to really embark on that process of just truly healing myself, because we talk about as therapists, like trying to heal and help everybody else. But they always tell you when you're on a plane, right? Like when the flight attendants are kind of giving their instruction to always put your mask on first before you try to help everybody else. Yeah. And so like I am trying to truly understand what that looks like for me. What does it look like for me to put my oxygen mask on first before trying to like help anybody else? So that's a huge goal of mine.
Let me not to cut you off.
No, you good. I
forgot what I was about to say.
It's all good.
Mask. Oh, I think my struggle or my frustration with understanding when to put your mask on first is we wait until we reach exhaustion to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we wait until we have no more to give. We wait until we're in this depressed state. We wait until we're in the hospital.
Chill on me. On me.
But we wait until we reach exhaustion to put our mask on. I think I'm kind of going into teaching. Let me stay away from but
real ass unfiltered conversation.
Yeah. I just hate that we wait until we reach this level of exhaustion to have an intervention. Yeah. Like that's just not best practice. But I'm glad that you're here.
I think we've been conditioned to do that, right? We've always been conditioned to like show up and support other people, which is what made us therapists, right? It's like, I gotta show up for other people, and we often forget about our own emotional tank, right? We forget about ourselves in the process, and then we have that oh shit moment, like ended up in a hospital, and it's like, damn, like, oh man, like I ain't taking care of myself, right? And because your thought process as a therapist is, I gotta show up for the clients that have hired me to be available for them.
Let me tell you something. Last year, you remember last year at the conference
in DC.
And then the shit I was going through.
Yeah.
The shit I was going through.
I remember.
When we got back, I had like hella sessions that Monday. And I actually hit my therapist and was like, I need an emergency session.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he met with me at some crazy hour, like 7:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I was at my office.
That's wild.
And
shout out to him though.
My therapist is dope. Leo, if you watching,
Leo.
My boy.
Is wild business, but hey,
that's my dog.
Yeah.
But I said, Leo, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get through the rest of the day. I had a shitload of clients, and I had just came off of vacation, so I had to make that money.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he said, Yolanda, just tell them you aren't well. You can still show up for them and not be well. I'm like, hell no, these folks got shit going on. Like, I can't do that. And honestly, that was the best piece of advice he could have given me. It's so crazy because I think like my 5 o'clock that day, and she comes every Monday, well, every other Monday at 5 o'clock. That's what I can remember. I said, I just want to share that I'm not in the best place right now. She said, I knew it. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, how do you know it? She was like, you typically are just chatty.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's never like any silence. She said, I knew something was going on, and I'm so glad that you said something, because I didn't really know how to show up for you. I didn't know how to say, hey, are you okay? Because I know you're so passionate about your clients, right? So that was the best piece of advice he could have given me. He was like, just let them know you're not okay. Like, 2 things can exist at once. Like, you can show up for them and not be okay. Yeah,
but we're taught, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we're taught to have like this boundary, right? Or these ethical boundaries and principles of like what's healthy self-disclosure, what's not healthy self-disclosure, right? And at the end of the day, it's like, you're a real ass person just like them. Like, you go through and like you, like I self-disclose, like from a healthier standpoint, like I have to cancel a session, like, yo, I'm just not mentally, I don't have the capacity, right? Like, you know, are you safe? Are you good? You know, and are you like, I don't want to lead you to the point where like you're unsafe, but we also have like, you know, different process and procedures in place, like if people are like, you know, at the point of like they're having thoughts of suicide, whatever the case may be. But we do our due diligence, you know. But I think that level of just being authentic with them is like, oh shit, like my client, my counselor's a real ass person too. And I think that's something that they can appreciate, because my clients have told me that too. It's like, yo, I appreciate your authenticity, like your realness, like your vulnerability. It's like, yo, like, I bleed just like you bleed. I struggle just like you struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like, and them hearing you say that, right? I think that gives them agency, right? To be able to be like, you know what? It normalizes, that's the word I'm looking for. It normalizes the experiences more when they see that their therapist is like, look, I'm struggling myself. I'm struggling to show it for me right now. So like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it for you right now, right? And so I'm proud of you for, you know, shout out to your therapist for that realness of advice, right? But also shout out to you for adhering and like listening to like that advice and like say, you know what, I'm gonna take heed of that, right? Because I think so often like we don't. Like, we don't take heed of that, and like we show up when we don't have the capacity to show up, right? And what I've learned is that like that becomes more detrimental to our clients, that becomes more detrimental to ourselves, like when we're forcing ourselves to show up and have the capacity, like when it's just not there, or we don't have any gas to give anybody else. We both are gonna fucking end up stranded on the side of the road, you know? Like, so shout out to you.
So yeah, I don't know what we were talking about before that, but what was we talking about before that?
About just showing up, like you being vulnerable and just like showing up for your clients, but also being able to say like, I'm human, right? Like, I'm a human being. Yeah, I interrupted you before that, but anyway, I think this is a good transition into what our topic is, right? And it's just about how you can show up, the expectations of a therapist and still being human. Yeah.
Right? So first, let's talk about the expectations. What do we feel like the expectations are? What do you feel like the expectations are?
I think the number one expectation of us is for us to always have the answers. I think that because like people come to us seeking clarity, they come to us seeking resolution, seeking answers, right? Like, and so like the number one expectation is for you got to have the answers, you got to know how to fix me, right? Like, and this piece of, and this might not even be an expectation of our clients, right? Maybe this is maybe self-projection, but it could also be that we have this own expectation of ourselves to have our shit together. Because it's like, think about it like this, like we're trained to like teach other people, coach other people, like help other people like put the pieces together to this puzzle, right? But to your point, like there are moments in life where it's like, shit, I don't even know how to put my own pieces together. So then you're looking at yourself like, how the hell am I going to help this person when my life is fucking crumbling?
I think I do. I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I think I do my best work when I am struggling. I come out my sessions like I was talking my shit today.
I was talking my shit. Yeah. And it be because you're going through your own shit. Like, oh shit, that shit applies to me. I've had many moments like that, and I was like, I'm sitting here in a session, right? My client is going through the same shit I'm going through, right? But I'm dropping gems. I am dropping gems, and I'm kind of like, damn, I should have listened. I should have thought about that shit. Like, you know,
write it down.
Let me write it down. Oh, that was good. Like, that was good. Like, let me apply this shit myself. You know. And to your point, like, even like the last thing that we talked about was like being vulnerable with our clients. Like, I'd be like, you know what? Shit, I can use that advice. You know, like I'm about to apply that same thing to my own life, right? Just being vulnerable and transparent. But yeah, like that expectation to you gotta have all the answers. They're preparing you're the expert, because you mentioned like, we went to school, right? Like, we went to school, we got our undergrads, we go to master, we go get our master for 2 years, and it takes us 2 to 3 years to get our license, right? Like it's like you become an expert in the field, so it's like you gotta have the answers, right? And sometimes you just don't, right? You don't have the answer for them sometimes, and shit, you don't have the answer for yourself.
Yeah, I don't think there's always an answer either. No, I think sometimes it's just a matter of needing to process. Yeah. I think it's just a matter of needing to just get this shit out. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's going to therapy now, and
shout out to y'all.
Y'all keep going to therapy.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to therapy now, and their way of showing up is like, well, what do you need right now? Sometimes I always want to say, shut up, listen, damn. I appreciate you asking, but get out of here with that therapy talk. Yeah. But no, I appreciate it, and it's just like, to my point, I just don't think it's always a solution. I think sometimes it's just talk. Just chat about it.
I mean, it's called talk therapy for a reason, right? There are moments where there are solutions, you're working through problem solving and things of that nature, but there are also moments where it's like, nigga, I just need to be heard, right? From an unbiased person. Like I have my own therapist. Shout out to Dr. Ann Parker, psychologist. She's an older white woman, actually. I chose her for a reason. And we can talk about that too. Okay. I see her tomorrow at noon, and I'm super excited to see her. But there are moments where I go in there.
Pro-black. That's interesting.
I am pro-black, but I think that there's a method to the madness of why I saw her, because I think sometimes we can get into it. I think sometimes we can over-identify. Okay. Right. I had a black male therapist, right? But I think that there was a point where like we over-identified with each other's experience, to where like there wasn't a lot of growth that was happening for me personally. So like I wanted a different perspective, right?
Do you feel like it was more validation than challenging?
That's a really good point. So let's be raw and unfiltered, right? A part of the shift was, and this might be, controversial, maybe, I don't know, or even goes against kind of like the whole premises of like why I do what I do. But I think that even for me, because we're being real, we're being raw, this is for therapists, right? We're talking about our own shit. I think that I struggled with my sense of vulnerability to him because of the overshared out of identity.
Yeah.
He was black, married, with kids, PhD, and I think that like I felt pressure. Something that we talk about. I felt pressure to be on.
Yeah.
Like that dichotomy of like being coming to you as a real ass human being, but then trying to balance like being a therapist. Like I was thinking like, damn, is he gonna judge me for like, you know, I don't have my shit like together, you know, like, oh, I got this whole PhD, like I've started this nonprofit, like I do all these things for like in therapy, but like I'm struggling with my own shit. So I found myself struggle being vulnerable to him, right?
And counterproductive.
Yes. Dr. Moore, if you see this, which I hope you do, I'm sorry that I fired you. But it wasn't you, as they would say in a relationship. It wasn't you, it was me. It wasn't you, it was me. It wasn't you, it was me. But I just struggled, right? And I was like, okay, I need someone that doesn't look like me, that doesn't know me, that doesn't operate in the same space as me, right? You know, like, because there was a lot of just things, like I was like, I could run into him at an event, you know, like I got this whole nonprofit for black men, you know, it was just, I was like, oh, I felt this pressure just like have it figured out, so it stopped me from being vulnerable, right? And so with Dr. Parker being an older white lady, it was like, man, you don't know me. We're never going to run in the same circle, right? Even conferences, you're a psychologist, and they were like, we're never going to run into the same circles, right?
I don't know why this is so funny.
No, it was real though. It was so real.
Avery said there's zero chances.
There's zero chances that I'm running into Dr. Parker. There's zero chances, right? And I just felt like it was a fresh start. It was like, you know what? I can tell you just how fucked up I am. Like, you know all of my accolades, right? Like, I know the theories. I don't know it all, obviously, but like,
I know a lot of it.
I know a lot of it, right? Like, and I know, right?
What the hell?
And to be completely frank, like, this was not planned.
No,
this was not planned. This was God's timing, God's like intervention for us to like wear the same thing, right?
I had on like cheetah print.
Hey, you know,
I was like, let me switch it up.
Put on this. I don't even know what color this is. Is it baby blue? I don't know.
So my friends are probably gonna be talking shit because I don't know my color.
I don't know. We go to school for this.
Is it pewter?
I don't know.
It's
pewter. Shit. Right? I don't know. But like Dr. Parker, like,
that's not powder blue.
I don't know. We didn't go to school for this. Like, chill. We didn't go to school for this, right? Okay. I took physics of color and sound in college during undergrad. I don't remember anything from it. My Neo took the classroom. He was with me. But anyway, that's a different story. But I mean, let me get back to the story, right? So Dr. Parker like gave me that freedom to be like, I can just exist, right? And I wasn't worried about like us ever crossing path. And so like I just kind of laid it out for her. Like, I'm fucked up, Dr. Parker. Like, I just want to keep it honest. And she was like, yeah, I understand why. Right? And one of the first things she told me, she was just like, yeah, like, of course you don't know how to have healthy relationships. Right? Like, look at what you went through. But for me, like,
what you mean? What you went through, like, growing up?
Like, growing up. Yeah. Like, my stuff that I had to go through growing up. She was like, of course, right? Like, you know, but sometimes like when I was working with my previous therapy, there was like this over identification. It was like, yeah, nigga, I know what you're talking about, right? Like it was more normalized, but she didn't normalize it, right? And I think that shook me, and I was like, fuck, this ain't normal. And I needed to hear that it wasn't normal, because sometimes we have shared identity with each other, like we associate through our shared experiences, right? Like trauma bonding is what we call it, right? And I think even as therapists, like we can trauma bond with our clients, right? And I feel like that was happening for me, and I wasn't growing how I needed to grow to be the best version of myself. So
yeah, shout out to your awareness.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because and your hunger to heal.
Yeah.
Because that's all that was.
Yeah.
Because you could have kept going to him strictly
lying like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and wasting your money, because we know therapy is expensive as hell. But no, for real, like, shout out to your awareness. That was good.
Yeah,
that was real good. We keep getting off track. What was we talking about?
We're not off track. We're where we're supposed to be.
Okay, I am like, how many?
I want to know this. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah. What's up?
How did you even get to this point of like you talked about earlier when like start this podcast, but like what was like that thing you say, you know what, like therapist voices need to be heard, you know, like what was that moment for you when you was like, okay, like voices need to be heard?
Oh God, this is a lot of vulnerability.
I mean, why do you know,
this is a lot of vulnerability. It was so many God, it's so many reasons, right? But me and my therapist were talking, but this was most recent, more recent. Mm-hmm. He and I were talking, and he said, Yolanda, you are fucking creative as hell. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? And I told him, this is the vulnerable part. I said, I really struggle with identifying as a creative, right? I struggle with identifying as a creative because I don't show up the way creatives show up in 2025 with the Instagram and the being at Little 5 Points and wearing up. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, perception of what creativity looks like.
Yeah, but my mind, this shit. Yesterday I woke up at 4:30 in the morning because I couldn't stop being creative mentally, right?
Yeah.
So I'll say that part, right? But about 2 years ago, I was like, every time I show up in these spaces as a therapist, I feel very drained when I leave, right? And I'm like talking to other therapists about it, and they're like, me too, but we gotta get this money.
Yeah. Chasing the bag.
Yeah, we gotta get this money, and we gotta get. But to my core, I still want to spread awareness, right? To my core, I still want to educate and teach and mentor. And it's like, well, what space can I not feel so pressured to be perfect, but also spread awareness and still show up and all the things in a podcast? I'm like, I'm not made for the camera. That was a lie. But anyway,
pop your shit.
But no, I think a podcast, it was like I have to show up perfect on a podcast because I'm image conscious. I'm an overachiever. I want to speak well, and I was just like, but wait, Yolanda, that's also the space that you want to be in, a space where you don't have to be all of those things. So this wasn't like a trendy thing, like everybody else is doing a podcast, so let me do it. You know, I ain't no trendy bitch. That's just not who I am. But I think it was literally like a need for it. And I'm like, well, how can I create a space where therapists don't have to show up and be a therapist? Therapists can just show up and be who they are. But we're forever a therapist. Hence, your favorite therapist. Therapist. So I feel like I went all over the place, and I didn't even share all the things. But this was just my creative way of creating a space for therapists to come and not have to provide a resource, not have to provide therapy, not have to show up. What's wrong?
No, nothing. Go ahead. I feel you.
And do all of the things, because man, there's so many ways to get money in our profession, but getting money drains the shit out of us because it takes so much emotion, and a lot of times
we that team no sleep. We sleep. We'll rest dead.
On the street all day. I can sleep when I die.
Yeah. Now that's real. Yeah. No, that's real though. I think that, you know, we needed a space like this, right? Because, and this is me going into like my research background of like understanding, like particularly for black men, right? Like, and what I've also seen not just with black men, but just black therapists, like the suicide rate within black male therapists, or just black therapists, or just black male therapists, particularly, have like increased.
Mm-hmm. Remember when we were working for me and Avery also used to work together. That's how we met. Started working together back in 2017. But remember we were working there. I don't know if it was necessarily black males killing themselves, but we worked for the crisis line, and every time you turn around, it was an email about somebody committing suicide.
Somebody died by suicide. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like, and oftentimes I think there's a correlation between us not having healthy outlets, because again, we're so busy showing up for everybody else. Goes back to the expectation to like, well, we neglect to show up for ourselves, right? And I think that this podcast, it's not just a podcast. Like, I don't even want to just like minimize like the importance of what you have created, the vision that you had, and the drive to see this through, right? Because a lot of people have vision, but they don't have the commitment to see it through, to see that vision through, right? The execution, right?
I'm gonna see that thing through it.
And I think that like this podcast, right, like it gives voice to those people that are often forgotten about, right? Which are the helpers. Like nobody ever thinks to check in on the helpers. Right, like I am blessed enough to have some friends in my corner that are like that check in on me as I go through life challenges. But the reality of it is, everybody don't have those friend groups, right?
The community,
you know, that everybody don't have that community. But had it not been for my community, I don't know where I would be. Like, just being completely fucking frank and transparent, like I don't know where I would be without my community. Like, they have been my saving grace in like the most challenging times in my life. Right? So this podcast gives people like me an opportunity to be seen, to be heard, right? To share my experiences, like, because as you mentioned, like people tap us in and they pay us to come talk and give resources and this and the third. But it's like, where, like, who's asking me, like, hey, how you doing? Like, I could just have delivered this amazing ass speech, right, or workshop, but be like, man, like, y'all have no idea what the hell I'm experiencing right now. All right, you have no idea, because I gotta put on the face. Right, I gotta go get the money. I gotta show up. Right, this is expectation. I think it's like, as a black therapist, they always say heavy is the head that wear the crown, right? And I always think about my experiences, like, I feel that pressure a lot of times to, as a black, I think about my identity, like being black, being male, being a therapist, being a father, all these different things, right? It's like, there's a lot of pressure, particularly for me, to show up a certain way, right? And that pressure gets the best of me a lot of fucking times. And to have someone be like, nigga, how you doing? That's a game changer for me. I'm like, shit, since you asked. But my default sometimes is, I'm good. But I'm like, you know what? If I gotta be completely vulnerable with you, like, I am struggling, my nigga. Like, I'm struggling. So this gives, I said all that to say, like, I appreciate you providing us therapists a platform to just be human beings. So thank you.
You're welcome. I can't wait to see the vulnerability that happens on this couch, because
we have to get like a like this little like for like the napkins and shit, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? I felt a little tear coming when I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I'm excited about it. So let's kind of not necessarily get back on track, but pivot back to where we started. So the expectations that we have, just being a therapist, right? I think while you said we always have the answers, I think mine is this idea that we don't experience mental health. Right? It's this idea that because you're a therapist, you don't struggle with depression, right? Because you're a therapist, you don't struggle with anxiety, you don't struggle with ADHD, you don't struggle with bipolar, you don't struggle. I think they forget, like, if you cut me right here,
I bleed the same.
baby, I'm gonna bleed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's the expectation that I struggle with, because my anxiety is fucking crazy.
How does that, like, and that's so real, like, I always tell people that, like, mental health does not discriminate. Mm-hmm. It doesn't give a damn about your job. It doesn't give a damn about your nationality, your sexual identity, your gender identity, your ethnic identity, your background, your socioeconomic status. It doesn't care how much money you have in your bank. And we see people that are rich as fuck that die by suicide and struggle with mental health. Like, we see this, so we know it doesn't discriminate.
I think that makes mental health real,
it
right?
makes it even more
real. You got
real.
these millionaires who got all the things.
Yeah.
You know, and all when I say all the things, we're not gonna act like money don't.
I mean, we know it do.
Exactly.
We know it do.
But when I think about money, it provides you with like you have access. There we go. You have access to the resources, right?
Yeah.
So I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I think we're definitely on the same line. It is like we struggle just like the next person, right? Like, anxiety hits us as well. Depression hits us as well.
Knock us down.
Right? Knock us the fuck down.
Especially as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, there were times that, like, shit, I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, I didn't want to do anything. Like, I had a full load of clients. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are times in sessions. I remember a time in a session where a client was talking about his experiences, right? And I'm over here like, damn, I'm going through the same stuff. And I'm like, I had to end the session early.
Oh no!
I had to end early because I'm fighting back tears myself. I'm like, what he's saying is bringing up stuff that I'm feeling, right? And I'm like, I you know, was struggling to try to be present. I was just like, look, we're gonna have to end this, like, you know. And I had to cancel the rest of my session. I went and laid in a bed for a while, couldn't sleep because my thoughts kept fucking running crazy on me. I had to call my boys, like, look, bro, like, talk to me, like, I need help, bro, like, I'm struggling. I'm gonna reach out to my therapist, like, and that's the thing, it's like, it happens to all of us irregardless of our profession, right? Like, yes, we are trained at this, right? Yes, we went through hella school, did hella papers, studied, took tests, supervision hours, like, we did all of the things, right, to help you out. But we are human too. We're human too, right? And so I get that expectation to, like, oh, like, because you're a therapist, like, you must not be struggling, or you gotta have shit figured out. Like, that's the farthest from the truth.
Or you don't struggle with mental health, right? And not even understanding that. Well, I actually chose this profession because I've navigated my own mental health. We just didn't have the language back then, right? But we knew that we didn't feel right.
Something was up.
We knew we didn't feel right, but we also had these big dreams and these big goals. And I know I don't feel right. I gotta figure out something so that I can still achieve these dreams and these goals. All the while, didn't know that we were coping, right? Not all the while didn't know that you were dealing with these mental health issues simultaneously while accomplishing these big dreams and goals. So. Just that expectation that we just don't deal with mental health, I think it's silly as hell. It is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes to just a common misconception, right? Like, I always tell people how I try to draw the analysis or, like, the comparison is, like, you got a primary care doctor.
Period.
Right? They got their doctor. They got them too. They have physical shit that goes on with them too, right? That they have to go get checked out, right? Cancer's doctor fucking get cancer, right? Like, heart doctors fucking struggle with heart complexes, like heart conditions, right? Like,
mine is dentist, right?
Yeah, dentist gotta go to the motherfucking dentist too, right?
The dentist
trying to do his own shit, like,
filling his own cavity.
Yeah, like, bro, like, how the hell this gonna work? But, like, and Are you going to be honest with yourself, like, about the shit that you got going? Like, and I think that goes to this premises. It goes to this stigma behind mental health. I think that is often like is a deterrence, right? It's like people see physical conditions completely different from they see mental conditions. Physical, I can feel it, right? I got a headache. Oh shit, I can't ignore the headache, so let me go take something for it, right? But when it comes to your mental health, like, it's like, I gotta tough that shit out or whatever, right? And so I think that same expectation kind of goes for us. It's like, what shit, like, nigga, aren't you trained at this?
Yeah.
Like, I've had somebody tell me that before, like, don't you do this for a living? Like, yes, and like, I'm human, like.
But I think that just makes us better therapists, right? Because this is lived experiences for me. You know what I'm saying? This is I tell a lot of clients, like, there's not a lot that I haven't experienced, right? In terms of this trauma shit, right? Like, I ain't experienced it at all, but it's not a lot. Exactly. And you and I kind of share a lot of the same trauma, but saying all that to say, like, we got mental health issues too. Right?
Yeah, we ain't perfect.
Period. We go to therapy just as often. And I want folks to stop, like, assuming because we have these letters behind our name and these degrees under our belts and these special trainings and, all the books on how to do it, that we just don't experience mental health issues. I want to go back to something you said about because we ignore the mental because the physical we can actually feel. So if my clients are watching, they know I am really, really big on analogies, right? And so I compare our nervous system, and I want therapists to start using the word nervous system in these damn sessions, right? Because they're not having enough conversation about nervous system, and these clients don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, I compare the. Is it compare the word that I'm trying to use?
We're gonna go with it.
Let's go with it, right? So you have an immune system, right, and then you have a nervous system, right? It's the same shit. Like, for our clients that come just for maintenance, for therapy, right? It's just like taking those vitamins just to keep your immune system healthy, right? We can be doing well, right? Career good, relationships good, money good, all the things, but you still need to go to therapy.
Get that checkup
for that preventative care. Right? And again, I said when I started this podcast, I wasn't going to be up here teaching, so I'm not going to teach. But I always use the analogy of our nervous system is just like our immune system, and we have to treat our nervous system just how we treat our immune system.
I agree. I mean, I learned that from being in a marriage and being talked about, like, how things that are happening are impacting the nervous system, right? And so that's a point of emphasis that I often try to understand for myself, like, what is my nervous system saying in these moments, and like honoring that and showing up for myself in that way to where, like, I can really address that situation. But also, to your point of like being a therapist, being able to tell my clients, like, listen to your body. Like, your body is telling you when some shit is not right. Right? Like, our body tells me every day, going back to this like humanizing us as people, right? Being in this space, it's like my body tells me when something is not fucking right. And this was a big thing for me, where I would always feel this obligation to show up for a speaking event or a podcast. Not this podcast, there's no obligation for this one. But like a speaking event or whatever, because like I felt like as a black person, as a therapist, like I needed to be that person that's going to shift the landscape of mental health in our field, to like really put a lens on like the black experience, right? So like I would overcommit myself to shit, right? Right? And I got to a point like my body started saying, I started feeling that increased heart rate, right? this pit in my stomach.
Those physical symptoms.
Those physiological symptoms was like, all right, something.
The doctor gotta say the physiological.
The physiological. Like, let me, you know, you gave me, let me pop my shit and use the terms, right?
It's physical.
You know, I can blend it back and forth, right? The physiological symptoms, right? My body is telling me like, yo, Avery, like, you're over, like, it was like, Avery, you're overcommitting, dog. Like, you don't have the capacity, right? And I found myself in the past couple of months of like truly listening to my body. And if it's some shit that my body is saying like, hey, this isn't right for you, I ain't saying yes to it.
Yeah. I'm
not saying yes to it. Like, and I encourage every therapist to do the same thing. We tell our clients to do that shit, but like, we don't listen to it ourselves. We are worse patients, like for real, or clients, or whatever terminology you want to use, right? Like, listen to yourself. Like, even for you, like when somebody asks you some shit and it does, like, your nervous system is like giving you signs that like this ain't right for you. Shit, listen, like, it's telling us that it's not right.
Right, and I'm going right back into teaching, but I ain't gonna stay that long. I think we need to learn what like a symptom of our nervous system. I done had a few drinks. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Like, we need to understand when it is nervous system talking, right? So we need to be able to hear it.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? Because we can confuse it with culture, right? And when I say culture, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. I can't leave no money on the table.
Hustle culture.
Period. Right? And so you gotta understand a nervous system in order to hear when our nervous system is telling us something. Because physical is easy, right? Because you can touch it. You know what I'm saying? But mental, I think there's first some education that has to happen. Like, you have to be educated on what it is, and then determining you know what you're hearing.
No, that's real.
So it's just the expectation.
Expectation's a bitch, man. Like, it drives you, but at the same time, fucking, it can cripple you.
And drain
it can drain the hell out of you. It can drain the hell out of you to feel like you just always gotta be on. You always gotta show up as that best version of yourself, when sometimes you're trying to figure out what that best version is yourself. To anybody that's watching this, I'm still trying to figure that shit out for myself. Like, I'm gonna help you figure your shit out too, but know that I'm trying to figure my shit out too. Like, I ain't got it all figured out, but this is a journey that we'll take together, and I'll learn from you just like you'll learn from me. But know that I'm human. So if I say I don't know, or that's a good point, right? Let me think about that. It's because, niggas, I'm trying to figure that shit out. So, like, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see that in the textbook, but I'm sorry. I read them all. I mean, not them all, but I read a lot of them. But there's a difference between what you read and what you do in the real life shit, right? Because when life happens, you know, it can be challenging.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw the best version of yourself?
Shit. I don't know if I've seen that yet. That's the honest answer. I don't know if I've seen that yet. And I've had amazing highlights of my life, from being the first one in my family to graduate college.
That's super dope.
To, you know, getting licensed, to becoming a parent, to getting married, to starting a nonprofit, to, you know, pledging and becoming an Omega, to fucking get my PhD. Like, I've had a lot of highlights, and I feel like a lot of it has been out of survival and out of this need to, like, this it's been off like a fear-based response, like because I grew up like not having shit and being in the projects, like I don't ever want to go back to that life, so it's been kind of like off of like, okay, it's trauma response. It's crazy, man. Shout out to my homie Nafis, man, who
we gotta get Nafis up here.
Yeah, we gotta get Nafis up here. Who mentioned that to me. He was like, man, it sounds like a trauma response. I'm like, damn, I think it is, bro. But like just being the best version of myself, I'm trying to still figure it out. Like life is life, and I feel like things are happening how they should happen and according to plan. And I'm being more intentional about showing up for myself. And I think through that process, like I will get to that point in my life where I'm like, okay, like I'm that best version of myself. So it's a journey.
I met you in 2017, right?
Yeah. I was a trainer.
Yeah.
Your preceptor.
Yeah. Overnight.
That shit was a haze. Appreciate y'all for letting me. Y'all would always. I'm like, yo, text me when my time is up on my break. I'm about to go take a nap. Call me. Wake me up because I'm about to take a nap. I was tired.
You needed community. Well, we all needed community on that job. Shout out to the damn VCL.
Shout out to the VCL.
Damn, VCL changed lives.
Y'all did. Y'all pay good too. So shout out to y'all. Yeah.
Sometimes I be wanting to go back. But no, I'm telling you, like this private practice money is good, but VCL money was.
So for you, I think that's a similar question for you. You asked me that question, so I throw it back to you. Like, when was the last time you felt that way?
Yeah, you throwing it. I'm gonna catch it, but let me give you your flowers. All right,
cool. All right.
I met you in 2017, and Avery, I think the best version that I've seen of you since 2017 is right now.
Wow.
I know what you're going through right now, and it's heavy and all the things, but this is the best version that I've seen. The vulnerability for one.
What else? Little handkerchiefs at right now.
No, seriously, the vulnerability, the risk taker that I see, the way like you're pushing, right? My thing is keep going. You going through a lot, and don't start crying over
I'm not. I'm
you
good.
gonna make me cry.
Like, I ain't I'm not afraid to show my emotions,
right.
but I'm cool right now.
Look, I don't want you to cry because you're gonna make me cry because of my makeup.
I'm cool right now. Yeah.
But the vulnerability, the way you keep going, my nigga, the way you show up for me with everything that you have going on every Friday, it became a thing. Like, how are you? I'm good. Okay, well, since you good, can I have this space and we just kind of bounce back and forth. Oh, the risk, you're just doing all of the things that in 2017 we were sitting in them little cubicles saying we were gonna do. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And life is just jabbing you, bow, 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 and you just keep going, right? And so this is the best version that I've seen of you. Like, it's been challenge after challenge after challenge, and you still get the PhD, right? You still get the teaching gig. You just make it happen. You're speaking all over the world at this point, right? And so this is the best version of you that I've seen. Some flowers. Take the flowers. Let's drink to it. You need some more to drink. But wait.
Cheers. Cheers to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, because when you're going through a lot of life shit, it's easy for you to have this very pessimistic mindset or like this defeated mindset, and to be reminded of like, hey, your level of perseverance and resiliency is refreshing. I think it's what I needed to hear, because there are a lot of times like that I doubt myself. Like, I question my purpose or what God has for me, but to have people like you that will. And you're so good at this. So this is me giving you your flowers too. You're so good of like, nigga, remember who the fuck you are. like the last time we hung out, right? That was one of the main things I took. Like the conversation was like, Avery, remember who the fuck you are. You know, like, you know, you. What I appreciate about our friendship, man, is that it's so authentic, it's so real, it's so authentic, it's so genuine, right? And it's like we can talk to each other about everything. And anything, no matter literally anything.
Zero judgment.
With zero judgment. We listen, but we don't judge. We listen, but we don't judge. We listen, but we don't judge, right? And, you know, for you to be like, look, bro, like, I know you got some shit going on, but let me remind you, let me kindly remind you of the nigga that you are, right? Like, nigga, you ain't perfect, but let me remind you of that, right? And to have someone in your corner that does that, right? Like, it's life-changing. So
life-changing is wild.
Yeah, no, it really is. Like, it really, because the thing is, like, you know, when we talk, like, a nigga be going through it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and to have someone like you that's like, look, bro, like, I get what's going on. Like, I hear you, you know, but you're you. You're him. In spite of your flaws, in spite of your imperfections, in spite of the mistakes that you've made, because I've made a shit ton of them. But I'm not the sum total of my mistakes. I'm not the sum total of my successes. And you remind me of that, right? And it's so genuine, right? Like, it's so genuine. So I appreciate you for, you know, showing up for me in that way when you're going through like your own shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and us being able to just make space for each other, right? Like, and I think that goes back into like the reason why you create this podcast, right? It's like, it's for us to make space for each other.
This shit dope.
It's for us to make space for each other, right? Like, this is how we're making space for each other, right? Like, you know, as friends, as colleagues, right? As to the core, just human fucking beings making space for each other. So cheers to you.
Appreciate you.
The therapist.
Your favorite therapist.
Your favorite therapist.
It's a tongue twister, it is, but your favorite therapist.
Absolutely.
I think the best version of me was, are we stopping, buddy?
5 minutes. 5
Oh.
minutes.
I think the best version of me was last year. And I legit said I'm going to do everything I said I'm going to do. I did so much that coming into this year, 2025, hell, I ain't have no goals. I had to tell my therapist, I said, I'm gonna let Q1 set the tone for what for the rest of my year is gonna be, right? I'm gonna let life show me what my goals need to be, because I did everything that I ever said that I wanted to do, I did. I did acting with Country Wayne, right? I became a personal trainer. I have worked out literally all of my life, right? I was throwing weights around at 12 years old, right? I became a personal trainer, right? I started this freaking podcast, right? I said no to a lot of shit, a lot of relationships, right? I could go on and on and on. I tell people all the time, I'm a thicker girl and I'm strong as hell, but push-ups is something pull-ups was something that I struggle with. I am doing pull-ups now, you know what I'm saying? And it's so crazy. And what we looking at on time? We're gonna wrap this thing up, because now I'm gonna get emotional. It was so crazy because I think that year was so big for me because I was turning 35 and I outlived my mom. You understand what I'm saying?
Shout out to moms.
Absolutely.
Our moms
Absolutely. And I think that's why I subconsciously went so hard, and I was just like, you know what? I'm living the life that she didn't have the opportunity to live. I'm doing all the things that she didn't have the opportunity to do, and I went hard as hell while depression was beating my ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There were so many. We don't got to get in that, but I think the best version of me was last year. Yeah, because I just did everything that I said I was gonna do, and so many things that I didn't list, but that was the best version of me, and I
would say this, and I want to, as we're kind of wrap things up, I want to praise you for that version of yourself that accomplished so many of your goals. But however, from my perspective, you are daily becoming the best version of yourself. And even in these moments, we can always give credence to when we're at the highlight of our lives, when we're not going through a lot of shit, right? And it's easy for us to be on a high when things are going good, but your ability to persevere and show resiliency through the even most challenging times of your life, right, shows how God is working and molding you to become the best version of your life, right? They always tell you that you tell God your plans. I can't remember exactly how I said it, but you tell God your plans, and then essentially
he'll laugh at your plans,
right?
Avery said they said something.
Yeah, they said something, right? In Ephesians, Apostle something, right? But it's like you or I, our listeners, we have yet to become the best version of ourselves. Like, this is a journey, right? And I think that we're going to truly know when we're the best version of ourselves when God says, you know what, you got it. You got what I had planned for you. Like, you hear it clearly, you see it clearly, right? Like, even when you're having challenges, like, it's like, I'm still the best version of myself, right? So shout out to us, the listeners, the millions of listeners to this podcast, because this is also about I did a workshop at a high school. Shout out to my son who invited me to speak at this high school, and they started doing that. I was like, what is this? This is our clap. I was like, oh, okay, cool, right?
Oh, that's the clap.
Yeah, there's a clap, right? So shout out to the millions and millions and millions of listeners that's going to tune into this podcast. Shout out to Dunny is what I call her, you know what I'm saying? Right? Like, for being a visionary and seeing this through.
A creative. Let's use the word creative. Yeah.
Shout out to Butter for producing the first show.
Shout out to Butter.
And Tyler, when you look at this, and you see this production, and you see what it's gonna come to, I'm just saying, Butter is your person.
Period.
Just saying.
Period.
Right? Universal whomever, right? Like, we're increasingly and every day, if we continue to just work on one thing to get better, we're always going to we're going to work to become the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
So shout out to y'all.
Good way to bring it to a close. Yeah. We got more to talk about.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got to re-up on these drinks, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Shout out to those that's coming behind us. Cheers.
If you're a therapist and you are interested in being on your favorite therapist, DM me, email me, call me. All the information will be listed. We're on YouTube. We are on what's that thing called?
TikTok?
No, I ain't on TikTok. What's the one? Yeah, Twitter, YouTube. No, what is the one that we listen to the podcast? Podcast for iTunes.
Sure. That too.
Yeah, we've been drinking, but we're real people. We're therapists that like to talk outside. Right, but so grateful. Oh my gosh, you guys don't know. I'm probably gonna cry off the camera. So grateful for having you here. Look out bi-weekly for a new episode. You're probably gonna see another episode with me and Avery because we still got some ish to chat about. But we gotta take a break. But Thank you for joining.
Peace.
I'm drunk. You hear me? I am drunk.
I'm trying to hold it together over here. I ain't gonna lie. I was having some drinks before I got here. I had a shot.